India has fact-checked the United States of America on the issue of Russian oil. Peter Navarro, former trade advisor to US President Donald Trump, he accused India of being a laundromat for Russian oil. The false charges including India fueling the Russian war. But facts on ground are very different, and without naming any of the US officials, whether it's their Treasury Secretary or their former trade advisor to the American President, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar called a spade a spade. China is the biggest importer of Russian oil, European Union is the biggest importer of Russian gas, and the United States continues to import fertilizers, palladium, and uranium. In fact, according to reports that are coming in, United States trade with Russia, modest 20%, as President Vladimir Putin recently said in Alaska, according to these reports, stands at a whopping $3.3 billion in 2024. But that additional 25% tariff is being imposed on India.
Quite honestly, we are very perplexed at the logic of the argument that you had.
EM Jaishankar, speaking from Moscow, called the US tariffs for Indian import of Russian oil perplexing. Speaking from Moscow alongside Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, Jaishankar pointed out that the US initially had encouraged India to do the same.
We are not the biggest purchasers of Russian oil, that is China. We are not the biggest purchasers of Russian LNG. I'm not sure, but I think that is the European Union. We are not the country which has the biggest trade surge with Russia after 2022. I think there are some countries to the south. We are a country where actually the Americans said for the last few years that we should do everything to stabilize the world energy markets, including buying oil from Russia.
The statement comes amid Jaishankar's visit to Moscow to strengthen bilateral relations between India and Russia. Meanwhile, US trade advisor Peter Navarro accused India of being the laundromat of Kremlin, cozying up to China and perpetuating the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
India doesn't appear to want to recognize its role in the bloodshed. It simply doesn't. It's cozying up to Xi Jinping. Is what it's doing. It's not act. And by the way, I wrote that article in the FT just to deal with the propaganda of the Indian government to make people want to feel sorry for them. Oh, they need the oil. They don't need the oil. It's a refining profiteering scheme. It's a laundromat for the Kremlin.
But New Delhi refuses to cow down to the US tariff blackmail. Jaishankar's Moscow trip, including talks with Putin, signals India's intent to keep strong ties with Russia despite the US displeasure.
We reaffirmed our shared ambition to expand bilateral trade in a balanced and sustainable manner, including by increasing India's exports to Russia. This requires swiftly addressing non-tariff barriers and regulatory impediments, enhancing Indian exports to Russia and sectors like pharmaceuticals, agriculture and textiles will certainly help to correct the current imbalance.
Even China is backing India.
The United States has long been benefited greatly from free trade, but now it is using tariffs as a bargaining chip to demand exorbitant prices from various countries. The United States has imposed tariffs of up to 50% on India and even threatened for more. China firmly opposes it. In the face of such acts, silence or compromise only emboldens the bully.
India is clear. It won't let trade wars or pressure derail its energy security or strategic partnerships. Bureau Report, India Today.